So the question is, how much money can you make from YouTube? And it's a little bit of a tricky question because what that means to different people can be wildly different. If I tell you I make my living from YouTube, you probably have one assumption of what that looks like, but the reality is over here. So I'm going to answer that question, what I make from YouTube, but bigger picture, I'm going to give you more value than just a number and explain the model that I use and that I've used for the last 15 years and how that works. By the way, later on in this video, I've got a free gift for you, so stick around for that. All right, so this all started, this idea for this video on Reddit. I've been on a bit of a Reddit kick, specifically in like the entrepreneur and small business Reddit groups. And this question comes up fairly regularly, people saying, how much can you reasonably expect to make from YouTube? Or one just recently said something like, I'm thinking about shutting my business down. I've got a YouTube channel that was making $5,000-$6,000 a month, and then the algorithm changed, and now it's only making like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. I'm kind of overwhelmed and kind of done with it. I want to just shut it down. And this person and I started a conversation, and it led to me to realize that this is probably a great video to make here for YouTube. So the hard truth, here's a hard truth. If your idea of a business is to start a YouTube channel, build up a following, and then that just sends you money, that's not a business. Hear me out. Having a YouTube channel, even a successful, popular YouTube channel that kicks off a good amount of ad revenue, according to my definition of a business, that's not a business. But YouTube can help you build your business. This was a huge, I started my YouTube channel in 2009. This was before, I don't even think the word YouTuber was a thing. I wasn't right. I think YouTube started in 2005, 2006. So it wasn't like I was one of the very first early adopters. But I've been doing this for a long time. And the idea of ad revenue wasn't even on my radar. I just needed a place that I could upload videos and people could play them easily and I could embed them on my blog. Remember blogs? I was going to be a professional blogger, I guess. But one of the big turning points for me was an online blogging coach, really, a guy named David Risley, first laid this out for me. And it's so simple, but he laid out what the definition is of a business. So at the time, I was thinking, I'm going to start a blog, put some videos on there, and then that was really the extent of how far I had thought about it. But very quickly, I learned in just learning how to even set up a blog that there was a thing called Google AdSense, right? You could have your blog content, and then on the side could be these ads, and you could get paid when people click on those ads. You just have to put a little bit of code there, and then it's like printing money. So I thought, well, that's cool. Maybe I can make a little bit of extra money doing that. And as I explored that, I came across this guy, David Risley, talking about AdSense and ad revenue and all of those things. And he said, rather than using your blog to generate ad revenue, use your blog to actually create a business. What is a business? Here's my definition of a business. A business is something that sells a product or service to a customer. That's overly simplistic, but compare the two. Someone who has a business that sells something to a customer, a product or a service, versus a YouTube channel that gets a lot of attention, gets a lot of views, and then sort of makes revenue from the advertisements that get shown on the top of your video. Which one of those sounds more like a business? The first one. So in this situation, this person that was talking about my business has started to drop off, because in the business being a YouTube channel that was making $6,000 a month, now it's making like $1,000 to $2,000 a month, $2,000 to $3,000, whatever it was. The business is starting to decline. Well, it's, in my eyes, it's not really a business. It's cool. If you do that, wonderful, fantastic. I'm not going to kick $6,000 a month of ad revenue out of bed, but it's not a business. The real business there is YouTube. YouTube has the business. They're the ones doing, according to our definition, selling a product to a customer. What is the product? Ad space. Who is the customer? Businesses that buy ads. So where do you fall into this equation? You're the middleman. You're really more like a contractor. It's a brilliant business model. You create the content for them. YouTube's not out there cranking out videos. They just sit back and wait for you to post your video. Then they monetize your video. And of course, they split the money with you. I don't know what the split is, but certainly they they created a way for creators to share in the ad revenue. So it's an advertising model. It's the same model that newspapers used 100 years ago. People write content and then you put ads alongside that. The ads are what pay for everything else. That's where the money is. That's the business model. But in that sense, you're more like the reporter who writes an article for the newspaper rather than the business owner, because you have zero control over the money coming in. You don't get to make the rules and you don't have any power. So in this scenario, as a YouTuber, I don't set the rules for YouTube, the guidelines. I don't know how the algorithm works. I can't change the algorithm. I only know that I post videos and then they send me some money as a share of the ad revenue. I have zero control other than making good content and posting videos regularly. But outside of that, I have such little control. I'm much more like a contractor who gets paid to create articles and content for a media company that then does the actual selling advertising to these big companies. Does that make sense? I'm not saying there aren't people who are making a huge amount of money on YouTube. I'm saying I would argue that's not a business. You found a really cool job with maybe even a high income, but you have very little control over it. And to really succeed in those types of businesses, you got to have big numbers, right? To get that number up to, say, $25,000 a month in ad revenue, you can go to there's websites that'll help you calculate that. You got to have a whole lot of views. Whole lot of views. Is that possible? Sure. Is it likely for everyone? No. Is it necessary in order to make a nice six-figure income from a YouTube channel? No. Here's the beautiful thing. If you want to play that business model where you're just making content for YouTube and hoping they send you some money, you can do that, but you got zero control and you got to get big old numbers to get to the point where you're making some big old money. Or here's what I suggest instead. Create a business on the back end of your YouTube channel. So now YouTube's working for you instead of you working for YouTube. Let me show you specific numbers and then I'll explain to you my business model and how it works. So here is my main YouTube channel. It's called Home Studio Corner, started in 2009. Got a decent subscriber base of over 230,000 folks. And as you can see here, estimated revenue over the last 28 days is $1,052. And if we come over to analytics, we can see a little bit more. Let's look at revenue. Let's look over the last 365 days. We can see it made about $13,762. So that comes out to a little over $1,000 a month, right? Probably $1,200, or let's do the math. Yeah, about $1,146 a month on average. As we can see, this is going up a little bit, but that's it. That's the name of the game. So I've got a very niche audience. It's educational content, which we'll come back to later. So it's typically not the kind of thing that's going to go viral and get millions of views. My most viewed video has 600,000 views. So I have, 4 videos over 500,000 views, and then it starts to drop off pretty quickly. So I'm not over here cranking out viral videos, but I have what a lot of people want, I would think, is I've got a successful channel, over 200,000 subscribers. You can see my little silver play button that I got back when I hit 100,000. And so some people might look at that and think, cool, probably making really good money off that ad revenue. That's one of my friends, when he found out I had this YouTube channel and how many subscribers I had, he was like, man, you must make so much money off it. Yes, I do, but not specifically off of YouTube. And it's so funny. I told him that. I was like, it's great, but specifically on ad revenue, I don't make that much money. And he instead of saying, well, then how do you make your money? Which is the obvious follow-up question. He said, oh man, that bums me out, because I don't know what he's assuming, but the follow-up question would be, how do you make your money? And I would have told him, which I'm going to tell you here in just a second. But yeah, so the last 28 days, I made $1,052 on YouTube. I'm not saying that's bad. That's wonderful. I am thankful for that $1,052. That is not enough for me to live on. That is not enough for me to support my wife and kids. That is not a number that excites me. I'm not going to work all month to make that. It doesn't work for me. But it's cool, and I take it. So if that's not the number, then what's the other number? So if I make $1,052 a month from YouTube, what do I make from my business itself? And you might have already seen this from the title of this video. I make, on average, about $25,000 per month from my business. The entire business is built from my YouTube channel. Don't miss that. The YouTube channel is the big front end for my business. This is where people find out about me and then come into my system and into my world. But I actually only make $1,000-ish per month from YouTube, whereas I make the rest of my money from the business on the back end, selling things to my customers. Isn't that beautiful, right? Instead of selling ad space to people who want to sell stuff to my customers, why don't I sell stuff to my own customers? I've got the audience. You can see this with huge YouTubers like Mr. Beast. Yes, he makes a crap load in ad revenue, but he's so big that he has a hard time getting paid what he's worth in terms of number of views that he gets. So he has to really expand and create products that he actually sells to customers, right? He's going in this direction as well. There's a great video Graham Cochran did talking about this. Be sure to check that out. But here is the last 12 months of revenue in my Kajabi account for this business. As you can see, it's just over $300,000, which comes out to almost exactly $25,000 per month. Now, as you can see, it's up and down. We'll do a big promotion for Black Friday. We did a pretty big promotion in February with a product launch. So it's up and down, but when you average it out, it comes out to right at $25,000 per month. And that's separate from what I make from YouTube. So what is this business model? Well, first of all, you should know this is all with zero ad spend. Zero. I don't spend money on ads. That's one of the things I see in a lot of content creators in the online business space. They almost assume that what you're doing is you spend money on ads to get people to buy your products or to get people maybe on your email list and then sell them products. It's all assumed. They're all talking about cost per acquisition, cost per lead, but all those acronyms that they use. I'm not against those things, but I think there's this assumption, faulty assumption, that the only way to build a business is to advertise and then to spend money to get a customer and then hopefully make more from that customer than you spent. And that difference is your profit. I don't have any of that. I've got normal, just regular overhead from running this business, which isn't very much, by the way. And all of this, just about all this, most of this is profit. For a lot of businesses, they may do $3 million in revenue, but they might spend $2.8 million in ads to make that $3 million. I don't want that stress, and I make more money than they do in that specific scenario. I'm not saying you can't make a huge amount of money and profitable money and maybe even make it faster by putting money into the ad machine to speed this process up. I'm just saying over the last 15 years, I've paid for ads maybe twice just to see. And I was like, that's neat, but the system works without it. And I'm good with that. So if anything, I've just proven for at least 15 years, even if I start doing paid ads in the future, because it sounds kind of like fun to mess with and tinker with, you don't need them. Let me show you one other thing to prove that point. If I go back to my analytics and I go to opt-ins, we can see just in the last 30 days, the number of opt-ins that I've had. In the last month, 2,600 email opt-ins. So these are leads that have come into my world that I can now sell to. 2,600. I told this to a group of entrepreneurs at a mastermind recently, and one of them audibly gasped when I talked about how I get around 2,500 leads, sometimes as many as like 3,500, 4,500, depending on what's happening that month. He audibly gasped because that's a huge number of leads. Not huge in terms, but huge for us, huge for me, because that means I've got 2,600 people who have not, ideally, supposedly not heard of me before, not come into my world. Now they're in my system. I can sell them things. So what is the thing that I'm selling them? First of all, if you want to learn, I'm going to tell you my business model here, kind of a high-level view. If you want to learn a little bit deeper the psychology behind it, the deeper approach that you can't really see by looking from the outside, but from the inside, it makes a lot more sense. I've created a free gift I'd love to give to you. Just go to joegilder.biz/game. It's my business game plan. I looked at the way I've run my business for the last 15 years and realized there's mainly 4 main components, and they spell out GAME. There's a masterclass there that explains the whole thing. There's a diagram, makes it really easy to follow and understand and internalize and apply to your existing or soon-to-be existing business. Please take it for free. It's about a 45-minute masterclass that really dives into that. I can't go into it here. joegilder.biz/game. game. So here is the business model. Here's how it works. First of all, I'm in the education niche. So in my view, education is way better than entertainment. Entertainment's going to get more views, going to get more attraction, potential to go more viral, right? Think Mr. Beast. Education, I feel, has more opportunity to sell things to them, meaning selling things like courses and memberships. I'm not saying that non-education and entertainment channels can't work, but my experience has been education works really well because I'm actually helping people achieve something. There's research, I can't remember where I saw it, that shows that educational content, those channels tend to have better audiences. And they know this because it tends to be more expensive to reach those audiences using ad revenue and ad spend than it is to reach a more general audience for entertainment purposes. And that makes sense, which means there's more money to be made there. And that's been my experience. So even though I'm not going to get a video that pops off and gets 40 million views, teaching people how to record a microphone in a home recording studio, for the person who's dying to learn how to record with a microphone in a home recording studio, I am suddenly his hero. And he is very likely to at least sign up for my free thing and then potentially even buy one of my courses because I've already helped him and made his life better. So it's going to be lower overall numbers, but bigger potential money. I've got friends, my buddy Graham Cochran, who ran a similar business to mine, Recording Revolution, that got much bigger than mine, YouTube-wise, got up to over 600,000 subscribers. He now has a new channel. He's had it for several years now, where he teaches business, a lot like what I'm doing here. His channel's at about 60,000 or so subscribers, but he's pulling in a couple $1 million. So the size of the channel is very small piece of the pie. What matters is what you're doing once you get those people into your system and how you're helping them. So what is the business model? It's ridiculously simple. So simple, you're going to want to ignore it and think there's got to be more to it, but there's not. Here's the entirety of the model. You ready? I create a video. I do one video per week. There was a time when I was doing 2 or 3 a week, but it's for a very, very long time. It's been one video per week. I make that video helpful content about something that my audience is struggling with. I solve a specific problem for them. So, good video, well-produced video that solves a problem. In that video, I invite them to do what I just did a second ago to you. I say, hey, if you like this video, I've created a free something I would love to give to you for free in exchange for your email address. Guess what this is? This is a transaction. I'm not sending you to go buy my thing yet. I'm trying to just build up some trust and rapport with you, and I'm bribing you ethically to sign up to my email list. So with one of my most popular one with Home Studio Corner is a 5-step mix guide. It teaches them how to mix a song in 5 steps. It's my overview. It's like the foundation of a lot of what I do in this business. So when I talk about that guide and I say, hey, go get it for free at 5stepmix.com, they go, they enter their email address. They are now in my system, and they get something great in return, something that is more in-depth and probably more valuable than what we talked about in the video. So they're getting extra value, and I'm getting their email address. Guess what? Getting their email address is the single best thing that I do in my business. I have built my business on email. Oh, email's dead. No, it's not. Do you check YouTube every day? Maybe. Do you see, let's say you're subscribed to me. Do you see every video that I release when it's released? Maybe, maybe not. You may have to come looking for it. Do you see your email? Yeah. Do you check your email probably every day? Yeah. Do you have to deal with every email in your inbox? For most people, yeah. I don't leave thousands of messages in there. I go through every day and I delete the ones I don't want to deal with. I read the ones that I want to read, and I reply to the ones I want to reply to, and I click on the ones I want to click on. But guess what? It is still, in 2024, one of the best ways to sell to customers because you're getting them one-on-one. It's not Instagram where they may or may not see your post. It's not even a paid ad. You've made the exchange, and so now I'm sending you an email providing value, and then occasionally, maybe once a month, asking you to buy something. There's a sale, there's a promo, there's a bundle, my membership is open, something like that. So the videos promote what's called a lead magnet. It is meant to magnetize, attract leads. A lead is just a person who signed up for your email list. Now they're in your world, and you can give them even more value over email. You can connect with them on a more one-on-one basis, and then you can sell them something. Now that something can be services, right? Maybe you do a service like you are a graphic designer and you can sell them a logo. But for me, the thing that I sell that's super scalable is courses and memberships. Remember, I'm doing educational content. I'm already teaching them something. I've created courses that teach them that thing more in depth in a more organized way that gives them a very specific transformation. By the end of this course, you will have achieved this. You will be able to do X. And I've got 4 of those courses right now: songwriting, recording, mixing, mastering. Those are kind of the 4 big pieces of the music production process. And now I can sell them one of the courses. I can create a bundle of those courses. I can have a promo where you can, if you own the first one, you can get the other 3 at a discount for a single price. I can do all sorts of creative things because I've got courses that I've created that they access through my Kajabi account. They log in, they have access to everything they've bought from me in one handy location. The other thing I sell to them is a membership. This is ongoing, where I give them new content every month. We have challenges every month. We have a community where they can engage with other people like them. You've seen memberships. You know what a membership is. That is a place where I can get recurring revenue. About a third of that money you saw, that $300,000, about a third of that comes from membership, from people who I sold to once, and now they just pay their monthly bill. And as long as I keep them happy and I'm treating them well and they're getting value out of it, I can count on, at the beginning of the month, there's at least $8,000 coming in just from that. If I do nothing, that's the beauty of recurring income. It's not easy to get that number up and to keep members happy and to keep them staying, because you have to justify your existence every time their bill goes through. There's a lot there, but it is still a big part of my business, and one for which I am very thankful. So that's the entire business model: video, lead magnet, email list, sell them something. And then once they bought something, guess what? I can sell them something else. Or I can say, you know what? I'm going to make a new course, brand new course, or a brand new coaching thing, or I'm really thinking about doing an in-studio event here in Nashville. There's a studio about 10 minutes from here that was built in a castle, literally a castle, that they converted into a recording studio. It's beautiful. It would be such a great in-person event. And I've done events like that, charged $3,000 per person for 10 people to come. I haven't done that in many, many years, so that's on the horizon. But these are the things. Suddenly, I've got a list of people who are interested in me, who trust me, who know me, who like me. And if I treat them well, I can sell them things that they would love to buy. If you feel weird about that, that's another topic for another day. But people who like what I do, they love spending money with me, because they know every dollar they spend with me comes back to them in real value. And here's the final piece. I'm not selling how to make money. I'm not selling business advice in this business. I've built this entire business selling them how to do something that they want to do, to hobbyist musicians who want to learn how to make great sounding music that they can release and impress their friends. That's it. I'm not selling. I feel like so much of the content you see online is about how they built their business selling huge price stuff on how to make money online. That is one business model. Obviously, I'm doing that now as well. But this business, the core of my business, what makes me unique in this space, is that I've built and continue to run this business that's not about making money online. So if you can do it with musicians, you can do it with anybody. So whatever your niche is, if you can teach them something and give them a real transformation, and you can do that over and over again in a lot of different ways, you've got the potential for a business that brings in a significant amount of money. All right, that's it for this video. If you liked what you see here, could you do me a favor? Could you hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Share this with a friend who you think wants to start a YouTube channel but doesn't really understand the math and the numbers behind it. This could really be helpful for them. And then finally, if you haven't seen this video, this will knock your socks off and get you motivated to stop waiting for someone to give you permission to start this thing that you've been wanting to do for a long time. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.